Druid is absolutely illegal this season. A tier 5 horde with level 90, 500 ether just tearing the bosses into pieces. You're missing a unique for the build? From level 70 on, you can just explode any normal boss, and Tormented won't be a challenge as well. I know there's a lot of effects happening on the screen and it looks quite complicated that you might need fancy-pantsy rotations. You don't. It's a simple spam of Landslide together with Cyclone Armor, because your beautiful key passive, Nature's Fury, takes care of the rest. You have a 35% chance to trigger a free storm skill of the same category and vice versa. So if I cast now Landslide, I'm gonna get the Lightning Storms. And if I'm actually casting my Cyclone Armor, I'm gonna get Earthen Bulwark. Oh, and if I do cast my Cataclysm Ultimate, well, there's a chance that Petrify just pops out versus the bosses. And while each one skill triggers the other skill, you get your Calm Before Storm Spirit Boon that resets the ultimate skill cooldown, followed up by Energize to just lucky hit and have infinite spirit. And finally, my favorite one, Symbiotic. When the Nature's Fury key passive triggers a free skill, your non-ultimate cooldowns of the opposite type are reduced. Huh. So I can use Cyclone Armor to trigger Earthen Bulwark to get Barrier and Unstoppable, then spam Landslide to actually reset the cooldown of Cyclone Armor straight away, and continue doing this in a spam way to actually also shapeshift that we're stacking up Wild Heart's Hunger, and on top Quick Shift for the 24% damage multiplier with the Wolf's Howl, going back and forth between bear and werewolf and human, while essentially just going for landslide, 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 landslide. And I mean, like you see it in the background, things are just falling apart. Now there's two versions of the build though. There's the 1 to 50 and then there's the 50 to 100, because you can't start leveling with this. Yes, you need to start a bit different with a full Lightning Storm build. No worries though, I have both versions for you, and we'll begin with the Lightning Storm version. 1 to 50, we begin with Wind Shear into Enhanced Wind Shear and then the Wild Wind Shear for the bonus spirit production. Boost the Lightning Storm with all the levels you can into Raging Lightning Storm for the bonus Lightning Storm hit. And then get Abundance that you have the basic skill generate more spirit. We're not going to take a single skill here. This is just for World Tier 3 to have the early elemental resistance boosting. And then we're actually stacking the Wolves with the Poison Creeper and the Ravens to have our Wolves get a wee bit more attack speed, our Poison Creeper to give us some more crit, and our Ravens too. As we're doing then damage versus distant enemies, because we're standing away as we're casting the Lightning Storm and the Wind Shear, plus Clarity to actually give our core skills, which then would be the Lightning Storm, even more damage. We get the Lightning Storm to make things vulnerable, have a Lightning Bolt go down with a Bad Omen to have a chance for even more damage, and then the Electric Shock on top, and Venom to multiply our damage up versus poison targets, not a problem. Then Trample to actually generate some spirit. Lastly, you're going to have all the nature, magic damage, resonance, circle of life, natural disaster fun happening in the top left, and you're going to round this up with perfect storm that your storm skills are generating you bonus spirit as you deal damage against vulnerable and immobilized or slowed enemies. This is essentially what you do from 1 to 50. Together then with the elemental surge tempering, you're just going to tear everything into pieces. And as your spirit boons, you're going to have the damage reduction from elites. We're going to get attack speed and critical strike damage. And then most important, we're actually going to play Pack Leader for the bonus cooldown. And we're going to be rocking Overload, as that is a huge lucky hit chance to do even more lightning damage. This is all essentially 1 to 50. And the whole trick with Lightning Storm is, as you're playing that over Landslide while leveling, you charge it up until its maximum size, and then the size is actually retained. Yes, and you're going to spam it then every 6 seconds to do the poof, 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 big lightning storm that tears everything into pieces. Works so well, especially as you're boosting through Helltides. And there's one important aspect that you can take to make things smoother, and it's actually the only aspect I had more or less from 1 to 50. And that would be for your amulet, the aspect of rejuvenation, which when falling below 20 spirit, there's a 30% chance to fully restore your spirit. This has been working wonders. As you drop below 20, wind shear up, below 20, wind shear up, and then you suddenly feel full again, lightning storm. It was just a nice circle to really never run out of spirit. Technically, there's a world where you could play the Starlight aspect, gain gain 40 of your primary resource for every 20% of your life that you heal, as you're technically healing with Circle of Life, which is minimal because it's only 1% of your life. But again, that's every single time we're actually spamming a skill, so a little bit. And you can also take life on hit on an item, and as you have like those lightning storms and everything raining down, the life on hit together with the passive does work very well. I though have to say that I'm still using Rejuvenation even at level 90 right now because it just works way too good. Now with level 50, things are about to change because you have all the skill points to make the Landslide fun work. And interestingly enough, Ystal from the seasonal story is providing you with the one or the other unique. And I've been actually getting Vasili's Prayer multiple times from her, and also the Earthbreaker ring. Yes, she just handed that to me, which are two important items for the build. But don't worry, the build works from level 50 on without. It just gets very much stronger as you pick up these items. Now for 50 to 100, there's some adjustments needed. First, we're going to be playing Claws. That is our skill for in between to maybe regain the one or the other spirit, as you might run out of spirit if your lucky hit is flagging. Still make the Lightning Storm maximum, and then actually 1 point in Landslide and 1 point in Enhanced Landslide. The Primal and the Raging Landslide ain't needed here. Then we're still putting 3 points into Ancestral Fortitude, as that will actually be providing you with the Elemental Resistance in World Tier 3 and 4 easily. Earthen Bulwark to make you unstoppable, the Cyclone Armor, then Bloodhowl together with Enhanced Bloodhowl, and you're definitely going to be playing the attack speed in the long run. But on level 50, I would rather recommend to actually go for the Innate Bloodhowl, as this allows you to restore the amount of this allows you to simply have a better spirit management going on. No more of any of these companions, but still Nature's Reach, as you're doing a lot of damage to distant enemies. We're also not rocking Trample, but we still want to make things vulnerable, and we need the 3 points into Hurricane and Cataclysm duration. Plus Mending, while in Werebear form, we actually heal harder. Earth Skills deal more damage. We fortify with Earth Skills, and then Earth Skills do even more damage as we're fortified. Now we put 1 point into Defiance and then 3 points into Natural Disaster, as Resonance actually doesn't work with the Nature's Fury bouncing back and forth with the skills, vice versa. And that's what you wanted to have. You wanted to have the Nature's Fury, that then your Storm skills trigger Earth skills and your Earth skills trigger Storm skills. Because from this point on, from level 50, you're only going to be spamming Landslide and Cyclone Armor, plus your cooldowns whenever they're up. Finally, we do have Cataclysm with the duration increase, and also the Supreme Cataclysm for another vulnerable booster. And then we're introducing the Quick Shift, as we're going to be in bear form most of the time, but then in between you're going to do Bulwark, you're going to be getting out the Cyclone Armor, and you're going to do the Howl to actually have the Quick Shift going on. And whenever you go for your basic skill, the Quick Shift likes that too. Heightened Senses for even more movement speed and damage reduction, very good. And then also 3 points into Defensive Posture. The more Fortify, we gain more Fortify, and we have a huge amount of damage reduction. Now we do have 4 points left, and the first 3 are just growing into Vigilance. You gain 7% damage reduction for 6 seconds after using a defensive skill. As we're essentially spamming Cyclone Armor, we consistently do have Vigilance going on and just boost our damage reduction vastly. And then our final point just goes into Circle of Life, as we just get that little bit of extra heal. It doesn't hurt. We're spamming away skills. Why would you not take a tiny bit of extra heal, as we're getting even more max life as well? I mean, 50 to 80,000 will be a thing. And as soon as you have your Elemental Resistance maxed out, put the 2 points out of Ancestral Fortitude, and then you're going to jam them into Defiance. But until then, just go for the more resistance. Your spirit boons mostly stay the same. We're still going for Wariness together with Sweeping Attacks and Avian Wrath for the critical and the bonus attack speed. Then we're swapping over to Energize, dealing damages up to a 15% chance to restore 30 spirit. And that is an incredible spirit production. Followed up with lastly the Calm Before the Storm, as your Nature Magic skill now have a chance to restore the ultimate cooldown. Oh boy, you're going to have your Cataclysm more often than not. Your gear in the beginning will not have all these items. Key pieces you want to have is an amulet with rejuvenating, maximum life we're looking for, attack speed, and then cataclysm cooldown, damage to distant enemies. This one will guide you all the way to level 100. It is way too good. And on your ring, you want to have natural balance. Casting a storm skill grants your earth skills critical strike damage, and then casting an earth skill increases the critical strike chance of your storm skills. Well, we're just casting earth skills to cast storm skills to make earth skills to storm skills. You want attack speed, maximum life here as well, because more attack speed leads to more storms, leads to more cooldown, leads to more spirit. Yeah, the infinite loop. Tempering here would be the same with damage to distant enemies and cataclysm cooldown reduction. And the damage to distant enemies works simply so well with Nature's Rage as we're just multiplying our damage to distant enemies. We're going to be playing one hand and offhand. And the offhand is running the accelerating aspect. For critical strikes, give us more attack speed. You want crit chance and also maximum life, mandatory. Then I currently have damage to crowd control. I wanted to have damage to distance, but here we are. And chance for landslide projectiles to cast twice. Now for a weapon, you don't have to take a dagger, but I simply did have a dagger because it had maximum life greater affix. And I'm playing life on hit. This should not be underestimated as you're literally hitting everything on screen. Might it be with landslide, with the landslide projectiles coming out, with the lightning storms, cataclysm, hurricanes, whatever you're doing, you have so much, you have at least 20 things on the screen that give you life on hit at the same time, soaking you back up. And that works very well with the starlight aspect as well. So you might want to consider that. Then crit damage, chance for landslide projectiles to cast twice, damage to distant, and then landslide earth pillars each strike a second time and deal an additional 10% bonus damage per. And as you're spamming away, there's no tomorrow, you're tearing people into pieces. And that's also where the Earthbreaker comes in. Crit chance, earth attack speed, landslide projectiles to cast twice, 35%. So we're sitting at 70+% currently, ranks to landslide. And then casts of landslide leave behind tectonic spikes, which do physical damage. And then spawning a landslide pillar within tectonic spikes has a chance to spawn 2 instead. That means you're spamming just the landslide on top of each other, and it's gonna obliterate everything. For the boots, we're playing Wild Heart Hunger. And yes, I only have it at 725 item power, which gives me movement speed, shapeshift attack speed, cold resistant, heightened senses. And when you shapeshift into a werewolf or a werebear, you gain Wild Heart for 5 seconds. And Wild Heart grants you another 3% stacking damage every 2 seconds up to 48%, which means we're gonna werewolf, werebear, werewolf, werebear. And that is very easy to be done with the blood howl that you're cooldown reducing the whole time. So you essentially get your howl all the time, and then you go back to landsliding, howl, landsliding, howl, landsliding, and the howl gives you more attack speed or spirit back as you're looking for your spirit generation. On the pens, I would like to have T-Bald's Will, but I don't have T-Bald's Will. That means until level 100, you're most likely going to play the Juggernaut's aspect simply to get the 10,000 bonus armor. Max life willpower, I don't want life per second, but I just have it. Total armor, and then a chance to freeze, which is so important. The lucky hit chance for status effect, I mean, it's illegal how good it works. It would probably be better to have this as stun, but you're just literally going to have your lightning storms, landslides, everything just consistently freezing everything around you. And then the key piece, Unsung Ecstatic Rabs. I started farming them with level 80. Yep, you just go to the Beast of Ice and absolutely blow him into pieces. You saw it in the intro, he has no chance. Crit chance, damage to distance, lightning storm, 8 ranks so far, 3 ranks to Defiance. Then lightning storms gain 1 strike each time it grows, and critical strikes cause lightning storm to strike twice. What? You just get a second lightning storm strike and a 40% damage increase? What can I say? Goes crazy. Follow that up with the symbiotic on your chest armor, max life, willpower. The life per second not needed here could be an armor roll, lucky hit chance to freeze again, maximum life temper, and when the Nature's Fury key passive triggers, ultimate cooldown reduction. Symbiotic being so good. Lastly is the helmet Vasili's Prayer, willpower percentage, max life, armor, and then death defense. And then defensive posture. Your earth skills are now also werebear skills and fortify you for 5% of your maximum health, which does lead to maximum fortify all the time, but works fantastically well with the paragons we're taking, because we're essentially a werebear all the time. Then we're werewolf, werebear, werewolf, werebear, werewolf. And currently, this is the realistic level 90 paragon board. I showed this to you so you understand what to take as you're going to be going through the armor to get max armored. Then we're going to pick up the resistance to all elements. We're playing the spirit glyph for the maximum critical strike damage and critical strike damage multiplier. Then we're going straight up into the constricting tendrils board. Yep. And here we do want to have the damage to crowd control happening, and we're going for the nature magic damage plus earth and sky, because earth and sky boosts also the maximum life here, making us so sturdy. You want earth and sky to level 21 as fast as possible. Into the left side for the earth and devastation, and that's where we do actually want damage versus crowd control bonus to get the huge multiplier up. And you get damage versus crowd control here. So if you actually hit damage versus crowd control tempers, it's not bad, as you can get a lot of damage out of it. But you want to go into this first because you got a resistance to all elements that gets boosted by the keeper glyph, and you get a resistance to all elements here in the beginning too. With these two nodes, you're almost resistanced out completely, as you then can go up here into the Thunderstruck board for getting even more damage versus distant with a damage versus distant multiplier, and you can get even more lightning resistance and maximum life together with the werebear glyph. Now this one is not even 15, but it will provide us 15% damage reduction while in werebear form, and as our helmet makes our earth skills be werebear skills, we're always in werebear form, we get a huge amount of damage reduction. Now that being said, the rest of the board is missing. Let's go over to the planner. In the full Paragon board, we can go away from some of the elemental resistant nodes. We're still taking the spirit in the early board, and we're still going over this in the beginning to just boost it up. Then we get the constricting tendrils, and do not forget about your damage to crowd control and the earth and sky for the bonus life that we mentioned before. Then we're going left side into the Thunderstruck board. In the Thunderstruck board, we get the werebear glyph for the damage reduction, also more damage reduction from vulnerable enemies, and do take the damage to crowd control enemies. Again, the more willpower you have, the better, by the way, so pick it up on your gear as you can. Then down here into the board called Inner Beast, and will be best to take 1, 2, 3, 4. That for the Inner Beast, the willpower requirement is the lowest possible, that you actually do get the 8% maximum life, which leads us then upwards into the next board. That would be Earth and Devastation. Earth and Devastation giving us that bonus damage multiplier together with the Keeper Glyph to actually get the resistance upgraded and the critical strike damage with earth skills. Do not forget to take the damage to crowd controlled here to get the bonus higher. Into our survival instincts board for the bonus damage multipliers with a fulminate glyph on the bonus lightning damage versus healthy and injured enemies. And then we're actually taking some maximum spirit on kill, and the ancestral guidance node. After spending 75 spirit, you deal 30% increased damage for 5 seconds. And yes, spending 75 spirit is a matter of milliseconds for us, to be honest, to then get it back up, giving us a bonus damage boost that is consistently active. Ladies and gentlemen, do I have your attention? Is this something you'd like to try out? The Lightning Storm build for leveling is inspired by Mr. Boiler, who definitely forgotten more about Druid than I ever knew at this point. And the Landslide build took some notes from Ace of Spades, who's probably one of the absolute S-tier Druid creators. Now, if you're rather looking for Necromancer or Rogue, there's 2 amazing level builds for you as well, each of them getting you to 100 in only a couple of hours. Enjoy and have a fantastic good day.